Welcome to Synced on Air. I'm your host, Angelique Robb, and today I have Valerie Angelkos. Oh, did I say that right?
Yes,
From
you did.
ZAPP. Okay, great. Thanks for joining us, Valerie. Would love if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got into this role with ZAPP and then
Mhm.
what ZAPP is. So, why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Angelique, for having me here. My name is Valerie Angelkos, and I'm head of marketing for ZAPP. ZAPP is a digital platform that allows users to send money from the United States to Mexico directly via WhatsApp. So that means that you don't have to download an app. You just have to go to WhatsApp. We have a specific number that you chat with, and then you do the whole process end to end. You start through WhatsApp, and then we send you a link where you can do a secure transfer of your money from the United States to Mexico. Um, my
And do
journey here, oh,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, I was going to ask more
Yeah,
questions, but I know we'll get into that
yeah,
later. Tell us about your journey.
yeah. My journey here was really interesting. My background is actually in tech marketing. So I spent a while of my career working at Google in sort of the consumer product side. And then after that, I ended up joining a couple of financial services startups in San Francisco. So that was kind of my entry into the financial services world. And, different things happened in my life that led me here. But I think working in a company that really helps immigrants like myself is really important and I think really meaningful. And I've had the opportunity to build this product with the team that I'm working with from the ground up and now,
Oh, that's
start growing
exciting.
it. So it's really
Yeah.
exciting. And I think as an immigrant, I understand the value of having something that really helps us send money abroad. And how hard can it be when you just move, you don't understand how it works. You have the urge to send this money to your loved ones, but the typical options that you have are really expensive, or you have to go and take a little bit of time out of work to go to a store, to do a long line, to pay hefty fees. So there's really a lot of value in what we're doing, and there's really a lot of need to help people just find the best way to do this and to be able to send money to their loved ones.
What are the most typical ways, or maybe your main competitors
Yeah.
that y- people use these days? Because I know,
Yeah.
it might. I could probably tell you what was used 10 years ago, but not today, and the marketplace keeps changing. So, what is um, the common method before ZAP? Would
Yes,
you say?
absolutely. So the majority of Hispanics in the United States, which is the market that we are initially working with, actually go to a store still. So even though,
Okay.
the world has digitalized and in the last 10 years, there's been a boom of a lot of applications that you download to send money. The majority of people actually still go to the store. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Um, there's the idea of this is what I know. This is what I know. This is what I've done for many years. This is a model that I feel comfortable with. I think that is one. Um, in the money sending business, there is a lot of trust from your loved ones. So if your grandmother used to send money through the store, your mother used to send money
Okay.
through the store, then you feel comfortable sending money through the store. Um,
Is it that, I
yeah.
mean, I've lived in other countries too,
Mhm.
and so I think that I guess my question is it that, like, when you move to a new country, you just don't know, there's so many options. You
Correct.
don't know which one is a good app or a good way, or there's almost, and I feel like since apps on phones and things like there's
Yes.
almost too many choices and you don't know who to trust. And
Yeah.
and okay,
I think that's a component of it. But as I said, I think there's a lot of legacy in this. And I
legacy.
think, like if you think about it, it's our money, and when we move to a new country, sometimes we have to start from scratch, and
Mm,
every dollar counts when
yeah.
you come to the United States, and these dollars are worth a lot in our countries back home.
Hmm.
So it's very important that we feel comfortable with the process that we use to do this. So there's a component of, there is something that I feel comfortable with because I know other people who have used it. There's also a component of, if the store is close to my home, perhaps, and it's something that I see every day, then I feel, comfortable and
Comfortable.
a little bit nudged that, oh, I have to go and send money. Let me just do this, right? But of course, like, even though the majority of people continue to use stores, there's a big percentage that has migrated to digital platforms. And in
Okay.
the last 10 years, there's probably over like 20 applications that allow you to send money, and they keep popping up. I don't think that's the challenge. The challenge, as you said, is which one do I use? Like, which one do I feel comfortable
Mm,
with? Which one is the easiest? Which one will charge me something that I feel is okay for the service that I am getting?
yeah.
Do I care about exchange rates? Do I care about fees? How complex is it? Like, some of them ask you for a lot of documents, some of them don't, some of them are more expensive. Every app, I think, has its own world and its own
Issues
set of
and yeah.
benefits and issues. And I think when we developed this product, our idea was, there's so many apps in the market, and even downloading an app, sometimes it's hard and you have to create an account and maybe you don't know how to do that. So we really thought, okay, if 95, 97% of Hispanics are already in WhatsApp, let's start with
Mm,
creating something that allows them to not even change their current habits, right? Like, it feels like a message to another person they know.
yeah.
They start the process there. And obviously, when we tell them, okay, you're ready to send the money, we send them to this external link because it's a secure link that allows you to make sure that your money is safe, etc. Just like if you were,
Okay.
shopping on Amazon. So the idea is that we don't need you to do anything else. We make it as easy as possible, and you have ZAPP on your contacts, and whenever you want to send money, you just go to WhatsApp and say,
Oh,
okay,
it's just
ZAPP,
like a person,
I want. It's like a person,
like you add
exactly.
a contact. Okay. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Well, yeah, that sounds like you've skipped a few of steps, and I
Mhm.
think that helps people too. If it happens quicker than it normally would, you can text or message WhatsApp,
Yes,
Zap. Oh,
absolutely.
that rhymes.
Yes.
And so, how long has it been live?
Yes. We've been live for about 2 years.
Okay.
Um, so it's been quite a journey. We right now allow people to send money from the United States to Mexico. We started there because it's actually the biggest Hispanic immigrant population in the United States. But obviously, we're
Okay.
we're thinking about expanding to more markets in the near future. And I think in the last 2 years, as any new business, we've learned a lot. We've
Mm,
gotten a lot of feedback from the people that we're helping. We talk to customers every day to understand, is this working? Is this not working? What could we do to make it easier? We get feedback about the process. We get feedback about the price. So I think part of the beauty of a product like this one is that we're able to adapt pretty quickly to what a customer needs, and it allows us
okay.
to make sure that we're giving the best service possible.
And what are your fees, or how do you make money? Because nothing can be free.
Yes, absolutely. No, nothing is free. Yes. So our first transaction is free. We don't charge for the first transaction because we value the idea of allowing somebody to try the service to make sure that, they feel comfortable with it, etc.
Okay.
After that first transaction, right now we charge $4.99 for up to $300, and then $3.99 from $300 to $500, and then we don't charge any fees for $500 onwards. And then on top of
Okay.
that, every day, like any platform that allows you to send money, or even the store, exchange rate changes. So we adapt the exchange rate to the market conditions to make sure that
Okay.
it's competitive enough. And every remittance platform also earns a little bit from that difference between the exchange rate that we give and the exchange rate that we buy. Like in any market, it would be the same. So that's how we
Mm-hmm.
make money.
Okay.
We try to make sure that, obviously as a business, we need to make money, but we have to balance that with giving a product that is at a reasonable price point for the people that we're trying to help. So as I mentioned, we've gotten a lot of feedback on the price. Obviously, everybody wants the best price possible. I would want the best price possible for everything I buy. Like, we absolutely understand that. So we try to balance it out to make sure that, we're giving the best price possible within the realms of possibility of the business.
Yes. So combining ease with good price is, yeah,
Correct.
is sounds like what you're aiming for.
Yes.
Why is it? I mean, it, I guess it's kind of inherent in what you're talking about. Why is it important to send money back? You mentioned that the dollar is, valuable, and it translates to more buying power in Mexico. Um, but why, why now? Why launch another competitor in the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think if you see the size of the remittance market in general, you'll see that it's continuing to grow every year.
Is it
There are more
okay?
immigrants in the United States and everywhere in the world. I think people are moving, people are migrating to find better options for life and better opportunities for them, and depending on their context. And because of that, there's still opportunities in how to make this process way more seamless than what it is today. And I think that was really
Mm.
the drive to launch, even though, to your point, there's hundreds of apps. There are many stores
Yeah.
you can go to. It's not necessarily something hard to find, but I do think that finding the easiest way, most convenient way to do this is pretty hard to find. And you have to kind of navigate across different services, and it can be time consuming and even overwhelming for many people. I think to your question about why now and why is it important, beyond the fact that we're trying to go and create the most convenient way to send money, there is an inherent need, an inherent permanent need, I would say, that has not changed over time for any immigrant that moves. I think we leave a lot of our family back home when we move, whether that's our parents, extended family, sometimes even kids. When we start our journey as an immigrant, sometimes we go to another country, we start alone, and then we bring the family when we're ready,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, because of that, there's always this need to figure out how to support our families back home. So in my case, I send money sometimes to my parents, or I send money to my friends because, we're trying to figure out something or purchase something for somebody who is still back in my country.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of that. I think depending on the case, if you leave family behind, a big chunk of your money will be sent to support your family. Sometimes you leave behind debt, or you leave behind, a house that you still own, or you have a business back in your country that you still want to sustain, but you kind of have to work in the United States and figure out how to sustain your business back home. So those are the typical kind of cases that we see. And I would say also emergencies. Like sometimes people have emergencies back home and you want to be able to support them. So I think this need has not changed over time. I think it's pretty consistent, but because there's more and more immigrants, obviously there's a bigger
Coming.
need to figure out
Yeah.
how to do that. Mhm.
And so you're starting with Mexico, and then you plan to go into other countries in South
Correct.
America? That's
Correct. That
great.
for
Yeah.
now, that is kind of the direction that we're taking, Central and South America. But depending on how fast this works, our vision is to really be able to provide this to anybody that is sending money from the U.S. anywhere and eventually anywhere in the world.
Okay. Okay. And I think you mentioned that all of the instructions are in Spanish. So whenever
Correct.
you text Zap or you WhatsApp Zap,
Hmm.
everything is in Spanish.
Yes, correct. Like we
Yeah.
started with a full Spanish product because after studying the Hispanic population, the Hispanic immigrant population in the United States, the feedback that we got was that a majority of them was more comfortable with a fully Spanish product.
Yeah.
But as anything, as we continue to grow, will be able to offer this in English as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great. This is exciting. I think that, making an, let's say it's always been there, but you're making it easier, more convenient using an existing platform. All of those things can help build that trust.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I was going to add that I think what we've seen in this 2 years too is that we find pockets of community that really love ZAPP, and then start recommending it. And I think that's part of what has made
okay.
us grow. So, for example, we ended up with a community of farmers that were seasonal farmers in Plant City, Florida, that ended up, finding us through a Facebook ad, I believe, and then, one told the
Oh,
other,
that's
then they told
cool.
all their coworkers, they told the everybody that was living in the same town. And I think for us, like when we see this type of growth and recommendation, we know that we're doing something right. We know that we're getting to
Hmm.
people that, it was probably their first time in the US. They were getting, this excellent money from this new job, and it's a seasonal job, so it's not forever, but they're trying to figure out, how can I get the most amount of money back home. So that
That's the
I think
best form of
experience.
referral.
Exactly.
Yeah, is
And we know
word
that
of
it's because they really liked it, they told us, they started telling everybody that they know. And I think for us, that's really proving that what we're doing is helping communities, which at the end of the day is what we want to do.
and I think, yeah, that speaks volumes that, one person tried it, told their
Mhm.
friends, more and more people use it. Is that why you do the first? I think you said you do the first transaction without a
Yes.
fee, just
Yeah,
to
because
help them try
yeah,
it?
it helps them try it. It helps them figure out if it's right for them. Like, I'm of the belief that, you know, we all like different things and value different things, and we want to make sure that you are trying it, you understand how it works. We can answer your questions if you have any. We try to make it obviously as seamless as possible, but like,
Mm.
you might have questions. So the idea of giving that first transaction fee is that you can try the product and then figure out if it's right for you. And if it is, you can come back at a still very competitive price.
One of the things you mentioned when we met previously is that, and I didn't know this, is that some states charge commission on cash transactions. Can you explain that a little bit more? Or the
Yes, correct.
Okay,
So it's actually a new law that is passing for remittances. It's
okay.
not live now,
Oh,
but
okay,
it is
okay,
something that will be live in 2026. And it has been changing over time in the last few months. The latest version of this is that there will be a tax of 1% over cash remittances for
okay,
certain populations, meaning people that are in different sort of immigration states, let's say.
okay,
And it's just for cash right now. So it's something that's not happening right now. It's going to happen in the future. But I think
okay.
what's relevant of this is that it is only being charged to cash transactions. So I think there is even an extra value um, to use a digital platform to send money, because you're going to save this 1%. And to put this in context,
Mhm,
because sometimes percentages are a little bit tricky for people, on average, every time somebody sends money, at least in the US to Mexico front,
mhm.
they send about $300. So that is a $3 fee, extra fee that you didn't have to pay before. It sounds small, but if you already go to a store where you have to pay $10 to $15 and you add
Yep,
$3 to that, you have to pay, $13 to $18. When you compare that to the prices, for example, that we offer, that's almost 3 or 4 times more than what you would be paying
yeah.
if you go through a platform like ZAPP. So um, I think it's, unfortunate that this law passed. To confirm, so I was looking it up. This includes U.S. citizens, permanent residents, visa holders, and undocumented immigrants. The previous version was excluding U.S. citizens and permanent residents. Now they landed on everybody.
Okay. Okay.
So about 49 million people will be affected in the United States overall. So I think, even though it's 1%, it started at
Yeah.
5, so it has gone down. I
Wow.
think when you put it in numbers and compare the $15-18 that you would spend on one transaction versus, a $4.99, $3.99, you start seeing where the gap is and what is the value of using a digital platform like ours. This is not eligible until, I believe, January 2026. But I think
Okay.
because it was discussed recently with all the changes, etc., it became more relevant. People started asking questions. We had a lot of customers that asked, well, like, what is this? What is this? How does it work? Do I
Yeah.
have to pay it now? What is the implication? There was a lot of talk in the market about this and in the industry. I think it's relevant. And I think even though it's 6 months away, it's another piece of information that is important for people to know
Yes.
so they can make the right decision for how they want to send their money abroad.
And I think it's a good point that there are fees on everything that you
Yes.
you use, and it's worth checking and how much are you paying total?
Yes.
When it goes into your bank, when it leaves your bank here and it goes into your bank there, what what's
Yes.
that percentage so that you understand first off what you're paying with whatever system you're using now, um, to know how to keep more of your hard-earned money,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and then you can make an educated decision on what platform to use, what store to use. However you're doing it, you have to know what you're paying now, because
Yeah.
yeah, every 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 step there'll probably be a charge, and
Yes.
so depending on what you're using, it can be kind of hidden, so it's worth looking at that, what your fees are now, and then you can make a clear comparison to
Yeah. And these fees
using
add
ZAPP.
up. We on average we see that people send money twice a month when they get paid. That's the
Okay.
normal behavior. So if you think about that, that's $12-15 every 2 weeks, $30-40 every month. You multiply that by 12, it becomes a more relevant number as you think about
The yearly.
the
Yeah.
yearly amount, and that's what typically happens. It's more common and more often than not, people send every 2 weeks because, as I mentioned, like, if you have family back home that needs your support, they need your support all the time. They don't necessarily
Hmm.
need your support once a year. Obviously, there are people who send for special occasions, Christmas, Mother's Day, a birthday, graduations, things like that. But the majority do send every couple of weeks. So I think that's something to consider, that even though, again, the 1% might feel small when you think about numbers, when you extrapolate that to how much more I would have to pay every 2 weeks, then it
That you
becomes a little bit
lose.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're offering a very competitive product, with the ease of use. And I know that, anything in your native tongue is so much more comfortable.
Yes.
So I think that
Mhm.
it sounds like you have a great future, and love that you're seeing people spread the word.
Yes.
Again, that word of mouth is just a great yeah, a great way to spread the news. What are ZAP's futures? I mean, ZAP's future aspirations. I mean, you have mentioned going into other countries. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Is that in the next year, or how? You know, talk us through that, please.
Yeah. Yes, I think we are looking to expand to new countries in the next, I would say in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Um, we're working on it. It depends on a few things that we're doing, but we're definitely thinking about that in our plans. And I think beyond, as I mentioned, expanding to new countries, providing the service in English for those who do need it. I think for us, what's really important, and for any digital platform, whether it's a financial services one or not, is continuing to improve. I think because we are a team of people that have worked in other consumer digital products and or in the financial services industry, we understand the need of continuing to evolve with the times. There's new technology, there's new things out there that can help us make that transaction even cheaper, make this process even better, help even our customer support teams, be able to manage how they work better. So I think there's a lot of things that we're thinking through of how to make this experience even better. That will come in the next couple of months. But for us, it's really about a combination of, obviously we want to grow. We're a new business. Like any business, we want to make sure that we have a path to sustainable growth. But for us, really the main priority, I would say, in the near term is focusing on improving that experience. And as I mentioned, we talk to customers all the time. We
It's
have good
important.
relationships with our customers. They come to us,
Mm.
they ask questions. We make sure that we're there for them. So that process allows us to have the right information to keep improving our service.
That's fantastic. Well, anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to tell our audience?
Yeah, I think a few maybe at the next step of details of ZAPP.
Okay.
So ZAPP, there's a few benefits beyond obviously that it's in WhatsApp, or from WhatsApp, that the process starts from WhatsApp, and that we have really competitive pricing. We allow you to send to over 40,000 different points in Mexico, which includes banks and stores. So if you want to send to a
Okay.
bank account, it works. If you want to send to a store like a Walmart, that somebody will pick up their money in, that's also possible.
Okay.
We also provide a very secure platform. We make sure that all the information is safe, whether that's personal information or credit card or debit card information that you use to
Mm.
pay, or the bank account of the person who's receiving the money on the other side. We make sure that we have the technology in order to make that information safe. And then the last thing is that we do have a money back guarantee policy. So if anything happens, if maybe the person on the other side didn't pick up the money on time, which happens a lot, or if you have
Okay.
any issue in your process, we ensure that the money gets back to you if it wasn't already sent to the other side and they have received it or picked it up. So I think that allows us to make sure that on top of making a very easy and convenient service, we are making a secure service that people trust. Because again, as I mentioned, for especially for somebody who comes from abroad, like every dollar counts. And there is fear, in using new platforms. And there's fear of, what if I lose my money? What if this is a scam? What if, what
Yeah.
if I don't know how to make sure that it gets to the other side? So we make sure that we provide the right services to ensure that is happening. Um, and then I would say lastly, like, to access app, because as I mentioned, we're not an application that you download. You start at our website, which is zapp.global. So ZAPP dot global. And you'll see that there is, information about our product there that you can read to understand how it works. It has a lot of the things that I just mentioned. And then you put
Great.
in your phone number, and then it will pop up a WhatsApp prompt. And when you click on it, you will be receiving a message on WhatsApp from us. And then from there, we'll be asking you questions like, okay, what's your name? How much money do you want to send? We'll confirm the price. You'll say, okay, yes, I want to send it. All right, who do you want to send it to? Do you want to send it to a
Mm.
store or to a bank account? And then once you confirm all of this, then we send you to the secure payment link so you can make sure that you make your payment over there. As I mentioned, like an Amazon shopping cart, and you're able to do the transaction safely in that payment link. So it's very easy. It just takes a couple minutes.
Mhm.
And then once you do that, you have the conversation on WhatsApp forever if you want. So if you want to access it, you just search ZAPP, or we also do marketing, obviously through WhatsApp. So you will be getting prompts, reminders, reminders of maybe our price is better, reminders because it's
Okay.
payday, things like that, to make sure that people, if you don't remember that today is the day, we will, help you remember that.
That is good. So you're prompting them to say the exchange rate is more in your favor for sending money.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I mean, that's something that, yeah, it could be a full-time job just keeping track of that. So that's
Yes.
handy that
Yeah.
you're prompting people to do that, and
Yeah.
they could, yeah, get a better deal by sending it on a particular day or time based on the
Yeah.
exchange rate.
Yeah. And some people, to your point, they check everything. They check the stores, they check all the apps, they check ZAPP, they check 15 places and see really where's the
Where's
best
the
bang for my buck. Yeah.
yeah.
Which is, as I said, like I would do the same. I want to make sure that I
Mm,
that I pay the right amount for what I'm sending. So our
mm.
intention with this is to make sure that you have the information you need to make the right decision.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for developing this system. It sounds fabulous. I hope it helps, each and every worker in the States save a little bit more of their hard-earned money. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us on our podcast. And Valerie, if you want to give me more details, I can put it in the show notes. So when we publish this, people can find you very easily. So
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Angelique.
thanks for joining us, and thanks for improving all the systems. Hope
Thank
to see you
you.
again soon. Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you.
That's
Bye.
Valerie from ZAPP, and we'll have details in the show notes that you can reach out directly.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.